Welcome back to America Today, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for the latest updates. The debate over whether President Joe Biden and his administration have weaponized the FBI to target political opponents has become one of the most explosive and divisive issues in American politics today. It combines questions of law, power, trust, and perception in ways that are uniquely destabilizing. To understand the seriousness of these accusations, we have to examine where they come from, how they resonate with different groups, what their effects are on institutions, and whether there is legal or constitutional merit behind them. At its core, the term weaponization implies that an agency originally designed to enforce laws neutrally has been turned into a political tool. Republicans in Congress, especially those aligned with the House Judiciary Committee's so-called Weaponization of Government subcommittee, argue that there is a consistent pattern of the FBI pursuing cases that harm conservative figures or movements while showing restraint toward allies of the current administration. They cite examples such as search warrants executed against associates of former President Donald Trump, the handling of Hunter Biden's business dealings, and decisions about what to classify as domestic extremism. The framing is powerful because it plays into existing mistrust of institutions, especially among voters who already view the federal bureaucracy as biased. For Biden and his defenders, however, the narrative is both misleading and dangerous. The White House and Justice Department have repeatedly stated that investigations are not directed from the Oval Office. The Attorney General has emphasized the department's independence, a principle meant to insulate law enforcement from political whims. From this perspective, the charge of weaponization is less about reality and more about strategy. By painting the FBI as corrupt or partisan, critics can discredit ongoing investigations before they reach conclusions, or delegitimize unfavorable outcomes. The truth may lie somewhere in between. Modern American politics has blurred the line between perception and intent. Even when the FBI pursues cases on evidentiary grounds, the timing of raids, subpoenas, or indictments can appear political, especially when they involve high-profile figures running for office. A search executed close to an election, for example, may be legally justified but politically radioactive. To an already polarized public, that coincidence often looks like proof of bias. The effect on public trust is immediate and profound. Surveys show declining confidence in the FBI across partisan lines, with Republicans losing faith more dramatically than Democrats. This erosion of trust doesn't just hurt the Bureau's image, it has practical consequences. Local law enforcement agencies depend on cooperation with the FBI for counterterrorism, cybercrime, and organized crime investigations. Witnesses and informants must feel they are dealing with a legitimate, non-political institution. When that legitimacy is questioned, cases can collapse. Another major effect is the polarization of oversight itself. Congressional hearings meant to clarify facts often devolve into partisan theater. Republicans push the weaponization narrative aggressively, while Democrats defend the FBI or pivot to counterexamples of past Republican pressure on law enforcement. The result is less about establishing an objective truth and more about rallying each side's base. This dynamic fuels an endless cycle: accusations, denials, counter-accusations, and more hearings. The institutions caught in the middle become less trusted as both sides pull them into political combat. Legally, the accusations of weaponization are difficult to prove. There is no single statute saying a president cannot influence investigations, though there are laws against obstruction of justice, abuse of power, or using government resources for purely partisan ends. To establish criminal liability, one would need hard evidence that Biden or his aides directly ordered the FBI to pursue cases not because of probable cause, but because of political revenge. That evidence would have to be clear, documented, and corroborated. So far, no such proof has emerged publicly. Instead, the debate relies heavily on circumstantial patterns and the interpretation of timing. This legal gap is why the controversy plays out more in politics than in courts. Without smoking gun evidence, the battlefield shifts to congressional oversight, inspector general reports, and media narratives. Each side amplifies the pieces that support its case. Republicans emphasize raids on Trump associates, while Democrats highlight that investigations of Hunter Biden have not been dropped. Both sides accuse the other of selective outrage, pointing to past administrations where similar complaints arose. During the Trump years, Democrats argued the Justice Department was politicized to protect Trump and punish critics. Before that, Republicans accused the Obama administration of targeting conservative nonprofit groups through the IRS. The pattern suggests that claims of weaponization are not unique to Biden, but part of a recurring struggle over how much independence federal agencies really have. The political incentives are clear. For Republicans, raising alarms about FBI bias unites their base, especially those already distrustful of Washington. It provides justification for aggressive oversight and potential impeachment efforts against administration officials. It also offers a shield for Trump, whose legal troubles can be framed not as criminal matters but as political persecution. For Democrats, defending the FBI is both a matter of protecting institutions and pushing back against what they see as dangerous delegitimization. They argue that undermining the FBI plays into the hands of foreign adversaries who benefit when Americans distrust their own institutions. The agenda question is therefore central. Critics argue Biden's team benefits from keeping opponents tied up in legal trouble while minimizing scrutiny of allies. Supporters argue the agenda is simply law enforcement. The FBI follows evidence wherever it leads, even if that evidence touches powerful figures. In reality, both interpretations can exist simultaneously. Even if cases are evidence-driven, the administration may calculate how to frame or respond to them politically. Conversely, even if critics see politics everywhere, some investigations are undeniably justified on legal grounds. The problem is not that one side is entirely right or wrong, but that the system lacks transparency and trust, making every decision appear suspect. Another layer is the media environment. In a fragmented media landscape, outlets selectively report developments to fit their audience's expectations. Conservative media emphasizes FBI raids, whistleblower complaints, and delays in Hunter Biden's cases. Liberal media stresses the independence of career prosecutors and the dangers of politicizing law enforcement. This selective amplification reinforces echo chambers, leaving ordinary citizens unsure of what to believe. When truth becomes partisan, law enforcement's credibility suffers further. Internationally, this debate has consequences too. Allies look at America's internal fights and wonder whether institutions can function above politics. Adversaries exploit the narrative of a corrupt FBI to weaken U.S. influence abroad. If America cannot trust its own investigators, it becomes harder to promote the rule of law as a global standard. Thus, the domestic fight over weaponization reverberates beyond borders, affecting both diplomacy and security. The long-term risks are profound. If each administration is accused of weaponizing agencies, and if each accusation is amplified without resolution, public faith in neutral governance may collapse entirely. That could open the door to more explicit politicization, where agencies are openly loyal to the party in power. In such a scenario, the United States would edge closer to a system where justice is contingent on political affiliation, a hallmark of authoritarian regimes. Yet there are also opportunities for reform. Some experts suggest stronger firewalls between the White House and Justice Department, codified in law rather than left as norms. Others call for more transparency in investigations involving public officials, perhaps with independent panels to review decisions before they are executed. Congressional oversight could be made less partisan with bipartisan commissions, though in the current climate that seems unlikely. Still, the mere debate has revived public discussion about how much independence agencies should have and whether trust can be rebuilt. In the end, the question of weaponization may never have a definitive answer. It is shaped as much by perception as by fact. To critics, every action against conservatives looks like proof. To defenders, every complaint looks like political theater. The reality may be a complex mix of legitimate law enforcement, institutional inertia, and political exploitation of timing and optics. What is certain is that the controversy is not going away. With elections approaching, each side will use it to frame their opponents as either corrupting justice or undermining it. The American people are left in the middle, asked to trust institutions that appear increasingly partisan while consuming media that offers little common ground. Whether through reforms, investigations, or simple exhaustion, something will eventually have to break this cycle. Until then, the debate over weaponization will continue to shape how Americans see their government, their elections, and their justice system.